My name is Jasveer. I'm a trainer and a training and development professional and an author. And occasionally, I have some of the most wonderful conversations with amazing people on my podcast, Abracadabra. I mean, what would this world be without conversations and stories, right? Story Club, in association with my podcast, Abracadabra, brings you this interesting conversation with the founders of Joy Story Foundation. Honestly, when I started my podcast interviewing people, I never thought of me as a host. I never thought of me as an interviewer. All I wanted to do was have conversation with interesting people. This led me to about 30 interesting conversations in season 1, and keeping the momentum going, season 2 starts with a bang with 4 amazing guests today. With great pleasure, I would like to welcome Harish Motwani, founder and mentor, Joy Story Foundation. Harish, wave to everyone who is tuned in right now, and please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Jasveer, for this introduction. So, I'm a seasoned marketer. I run a consulting company in Gurgaon here in India, and been for last 2 decades. So, I have over 30 years of experience working with brands across various shapes and sizes, global and Indian both. So, Joy Story was the latest venture I did 3 years back. We're going to talk about it as we progress. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harish. Welcome to a Story Club and Abracadabra.
Thank you,
next up is Mamta Sehgal. She is the co-founder and CEO of Joy Story Foundation. Mamta, wave to everyone who's tuned in right now and introduce yourself.
Hi. My professional journey started with academia, teaching fashion in various institutes for 20 years, and then on being the panel for lift admissions. As the professional career descended, I started my writing journey with writing spiritual articles for 2 dailies, Times of India and Sudan Times, and the motivational columns, Inner Voice and Speaking Tree respectively, and then having a blog of my own, and then writing 2 books, Original Journey and Rohe Movie. And as the life progressed, destiny had still more to show, and we started this journey of Joy Story Foundation with Harish, and we are walking that path, and rest is history.
Thank you, Mamta. Welcome to Story Club and Abracadabra. Next up is Sonia Joshi. She is the co-founder and director of Joy Story Foundation. Sonia, wave to everyone and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi Jasveer, and thank you everyone for having us here. Thank you, Jasveer, for hosting us. I'm Sonia. I'm based in Singapore, and outside my full-time banking job, I involve myself in some creative and social work engagements, and which gives me some opportunities to build stories that are powerful, impactful, one that spreads joys around and helps connect people globally, and that helps me find myself. So working voluntarily for Joy Foundation for last 3 years is one such lovely experience that's giving me an opportunity to connect with you all in this impressive platform Story Club, which gives us a great content by very talented curators, Arun, Bhagwati and Shivani, Dalal. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity and having us here. Thank you.
Truly, a big shout out to Shivani and Arun for organizing this. Thank you so much, guys. Alright, thank you, Sonia. And next up is Dr. Neera Gupta. She's an author, Chief Visionary Officer of Global Influencers Publishing House. Dr. Gupta, give a huge wave to everybody who's tuned in, and please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, and I'm so delighted to be here. What a wonderful opportunity this is. Well, my introduction has already been given, so I don't know what else to say. All I would want to say is that I truly believe in giving a voice to women, and that is really my passion. And what people don't know about me is that I'm also a dentist by qualification only.
That's a handy combination of a lot of things, but Dr. Gupta, thank you so much for introducing yourself and taking time out. Guys, all in all, a wonderful lineup to start season 2 Thank you so much for taking time out to be on Astoryclub and Abracadabra. So I just wanted to start the session with a quote by Mother Teresa. Give your hands to serve and your hearts to love. You all are doing fantastic work when it comes to Joy Story Foundation and doing your other NGO projects. Tell us about the beginning of your works, about writing stories of joy, empowerment. Tell us how it all started and what this is actually for you. I mean, what inspired you to create this or be a part of such a project. So let's start with Harish. Harish, if you could tell us something about that.
Yeah, sure. So Joy Story was something which emerged out of nowhere actually. So it was one of my frequent travel trips. On a flight, I remember I had randomly picked up a magazine, and it was a global magazine, and I read about the social development sector. So of course, on a delayed flight, that's the easiest thing to do, is pick up books and read about them. But I never realized that that small article will possibly bring about such amount of massive change in the personality and what I was going to do. So the article was essentially about how social sector is actually working better than the government of most countries, and so at least the topic of the subject of the article was essentially about the role of non-profit in the global development. We know half of the world sleeps hungry. Okay, I think that's an established fact. A lot of NGOs, not a lot of non-profits, United Nations keep talking about it. So I guess 1 square meal a day is something only around 50% of the population can afford today. In India, possibly things may be worse. So there are 10 million non-profits available and working on the ground globally. Okay, and that's a very interesting statistic. Out of 10 million non-profits, 3 million are in India. Okay, that's 30 lakhs. India's population 120 crores at last count. Can you guess how many number of schools we have in India?
I think not enough. Whatever be the
lakhs.
number,
It's 14 lakhs.
We don't have enough.
It's sheer half the size of the total non-profits in India. You know what is the total strength of the on-ground police force in India? It's 17.5 lakhs. Again, almost half the size of the non-profit available in India. So if you do a basic math around it, there is a non-profit available on the ground for every 400 people. And these 400 people include people like us who do not need non-profits for sustenance. So, there's something wrong in this matrix somewhere. Either the statistics are wrong, which I doubt they are, and second, possible fact that someone is not doing the right job for which they were formed, for which they were created and what they strived for. So, if you see around, we see a lot of poverty around, clothless kids, hungry, starved population, people with weak eyesight, women who do not use sanitary napkins. The pain is all across. So the whole idea was I deep dived into the entire subject and realized and spoke to some people in the social sector, and everyone knew that this, whatever we are doing as a country, and I'm talking purely of India right now, not global phenomena, is not enough. So the natural voice, your conscience speaks to you every now and then. And when you're possibly in a very competitive business environment, you have your solace in side talks, side discussions with your own conscience. So I thought, can I join some people? Can some people join me in actually making a difference on the ground? Our bit. We are not going to revolutionize the entire social sector, but possibly can we make a small dent in making it better? So that was the entire objective. I guess that delayed flight gave me a huge awakening to bring about this change, and that's how Joy Story was formed. So Joy Story was, I spoke around with people who would want to join me. So I survive in a very competitive business environment. So I know a lot of chief marketing officers, finance professionals, and various others. So I work very closely with them. So I went around and asked who can join me. It's very difficult to at times do things alone, but when you are a party, things work out better. So I spoke around with quite a few of them, and some of them showed interest. Yes, they would come back, and of course they didn't. So it was during this chance meeting, so I met Mamta, and we were together at school way back in late 80s. I met Sonia, who happens to be my wife's best friend. So I guess I spoke to these two people, ladies, and of course another colleague of mine, Sumit Chandna. And then things automatically worked out. And lo and behold, within 2 months, we had this organization up, running, and performing. So that's how the beginning, that's how was the beginning. So I guess Sonia and Mamta would have more things to add.
Yes. Before I talk more about this, I would come to Mamta to add her bits to the question. Mamta, there is a tech glitch. Sorry about that, guys. We can't see Mamta right now. She's trying to sort it out. Mamta, could you try and switch on your video, please? I think Mamta cannot hear us. No worries. My apologies, guys.
No,
Welcome to the world.
I'm able to hear you. I'm able to hear you.
Meeting. Awesome. All right, Mamta. Could you try and switch on your camera, please, so that everybody can see you as well?
Camera is all open. I'm able to hear you also.
Oh, awesome. All right. Could be a tech glitch, guys. No worries about that, Mamta. So what do you have to say about this?
Am I audible to you?
Yes.
Am I audible to you?
Yep.
Okay,
loud and clear.
But you can't see me, right?
No, we can't see you.
Okay, doesn't matter. So, how it all started, whenever I used to be on walks, I used to see these construction sites and the kids of those construction workers toiling on the roads and, laden in all dust. And I always, through my walks, used to have this thought that how can I, bring them to a life where they can read, where they can study, where they can have toys to play, and how they can eat properly. So the thought was always there, and so how I could do it. I always thought of opening up a school where these only the kids of construction workers would be a part of that school, and then they'll be given clothes, toys, books, refreshments to eat, and then they would lead in life, and then probably we take them to bigger schools, because obviously their parents are the awareness is not there, and the interest is also not there. And during this time, again, as Harish mentioned, I met Harish after about 25 years, and the question that he put to me, that what now in life? And I told him that this is what I intend to do. This is what my feeling is, entering into a social sector. And probably, since, as he told you, that he was also carrying these thoughts, reading these stories, and having these thoughts in his mind, that how we could make a change in society in whatever little way we can. And probably after hearing me out and then talking to other people and then having my nod on it, that I could be a part of it, he came back to me after a few months, bringing this beautiful idea of Toy Story Foundation, and he offered me to be a part of it. And then the rest is history. I mean, we are 3 years old, and in less than 3 months we'll be about less than a month we will be 3 years old and doing great work. I mean, I'm very proud to say that we are doing great work in it.
Right. Thank you so much, Mamta. And here's my key takeaway. You guys did not want to reinvent the wheel. Like Harish said, that I wanted to fix the dent. The system was already there. All we needed to do was look for gaps and fix it. That's the most important thing. And let me share something with you guys, Harish and Mamta. I know your journey has been good. When we talk about conversations in the corporate, after the seminars, or during the dinners or friendly dinners, or maybe a conversation during a smoke break or anything, everybody talks about making a change. Everybody, and that goes for every corporate employee, be it mid-level, junior level, or senior level. But the moment they see the real facts, the moment they see the reality, they always think, what, the system is broken, we can't fix it. It can't be broken. there are very few people who actually take the leap of faith and decide to do something. And there's an amazing lot over here that actually went ahead with this decision, and you've been doing some of the most amazing work for the last 3 years. Bravo to that. Thank you so much, Harish and Mamta. Now let's come to Dr. Gupta. My pleasure. Let's come to Dr. Gupta. Dr. Gupta, everybody is curious about #MyVoice over there. Let's talk about your venture.
Absolutely. So Jasveer, it all started in June 2020, in the midst of pandemic, when we saw a lot of the women in our network were suffering both mentally and socially. We all felt like there was no safe space for women where we could agree, disagree, or even agree to disagree, but without any judgment. An opportunity for us to just be ourselves. And that's when we created Myvoice, which was a platform for women to come together to talk about things that matter to us, to discuss issues and challenges, and of course, how we could become better versions of ourselves by listening, learning, helping, and supporting one another through this journey. And this, of course, encouraged us to take it to yet another level. And we set up Global Influencers Publishing House in 2021 to feature empowering and inspirational stories of amazing women from around the globe by publishing the Myvoice series of books, and of course, other books written by women and men. But what I wanted to say today, Jasveer, to everyone who's watching us today, is that Myvoice isn't just a series of events or books. It is a movement to create a paradigm shift for women by giving them the opportunity to speak up and be heard. It's about bringing together thought leaders, experts, community builders, and everyday women to discuss the challenges they face in this changing world, and for all of us to transform our journeys from ordinary to extraordinary, and together enable change.
Oh, I think the keyword over here is being non-judgmental and being part of a constructive discussion. That's what social media has become. I'm sure you all will agree. You are doing something good, but then there are going to be people who will be part of that conversation to judge you, right? Not to support you, not to be constructive, but judge you. Do you think that's and this is kind of a offshoot. This is why I said I love conversations, right? Do you think sort of in the era of social media, we've all become judgmental, and we've got to all stop, keep our judgment aside and just, go through the stories, be part of those stories rather than just respond or, comment or like to be judgmental? Do you think that would actually sort a lot of our problems that we have? Just not be judgmental at all?
I think just we were always judgmental, and we can never be not judgmental. So that's just part of our human DNA, for that matter.
Human nature. Yeah.
It is, but I truly believe that pandemic has changed the way we behave. We have become more compassionate. We have become more empathetic about other people. And you know what? One thing that I've realized is it's okay to show your vulnerability. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm not okay today. No, I don't always want to post amazing pictures of the cocktails that I'm making, or my kids and things like that. It's okay. I'm not perfect, and I don't want to be perfect. And I think more and more people are appreciating that honesty, because truly no one is perfect, and we don't have to be those, superheroes and things like that. So I think the world has become a kinder place.
Exactly. Rather than perfection, we should try to do good, right? The best that we can. Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Gupta. Sonia, let's come to you, and I want to hear a lot about Joy Story Foundation and Myvoice, because you're going to talk about both, right? So let's hear from you.
Yeah, briefly. So I think my journey, many people can relate to. I was like anybody else, trying to do some charity services here and there, and within my own reach, within my own means, and I was very passionate about doing things with bigger impact, but that was not happening. I realized that my energies were scattered, my focus, the consistency was not there. If I did something, then I would not be able to continue. And I had loads of ideas. I had made some PPTs presentation, but I didn't have means and resources and connections to reach out there and to present. So just a small incident, maybe I can share. 2013, there was an NGO, there was an orphanage actually. So I reached them and I, figured out that, there's an orphanage, and I was not very satisfied with the education, the classes that they were having. So I thought that, okay, let me contribute by hiring an additional math and English teacher for the kids there. And that could actually, be beneficial for the children there. So everything was finalized, but when it came to formalization, the orphanage founder, he wrote those emails to me. It's still in my inbox, saying that I love your idea and this will be very helpful, but you know what, I have an urgent requirement to hire a security guard. Security guard is a must for orphanage. Then I have admin cost. And I as a donor could not connect that with, because I wanted on-ground results and I was very passionate about an education course, and I could not associate with his requirement however genuine it may be. I could not, so it fizzled out. So things were happening like that. And to cut the long story short, I was facing all these challenges in my, I was not able to yet go out and create an impact the way I wanted. Harish came up with this concept, and he was laying a foundation of so-called Jasveer Foundation. He explained a concept which was collective philanthropy, getting the like-minded people with the skill sets, with the talents, with funds, with whatever they had. Chartered accountant auditors could come and contribute their skills to make that happen. But the model did not have any sort of a hiring, any admin costs. Everything he had settled. There was no office, the rents for which it had to be accommodated for. So there was zero infra and zero employee cost, zero asset, and it was a different concept. It's just like-minded people go there, contribute, and collectively do something big out there. Because social services, I feel, is something that when you contribute something jointly together, it's bountiful. It cannot be an act of solitary when you try to do things out there. So I was very convinced it was like a dream setup for me. So I was in for this joy, definitely. Then for Myvoice, I think Neera, when she approached me that this is a book and this is a concept, and I told Neera, I don't have any extraordinary highs and lows in my life. I have a very ordinary life. What do I share in your book? So we had some conversation, and the learning that I had from those conversations was each one of us may have something that we feel that's very personal to us, a chapter. It need not be very extraordinary lows and highs, but it could be something that if we let it out, if we express, if we share, it might help other women who may be in the same journey as me. So I let it out and I said, okay, and the sale proceeds were going to Singapore Children's Society. It was all for a good cause. Each second of my writing was for the women empowerment, and even the sales proceeds were going to Singapore Children's Society. I was all into there. So I was very, very grateful for this opportunity to Neera and Harish for giving me this wings to make a difference there in whatever little way I could.
Amazing journey, all of you, and Mamta's video is back, by the way. Mamta, if you could wave to everybody who's tuned in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Finally, welcome to the world of virtual meetings, guys. Technology can be a pain at times, right? All right. Nonetheless, Mamta's video is working. Wonderful. And whatever I've heard over here, I would like to invoke a Hindi saying, right? If you don't mind me saying in Hindi, "Boond boond banta hai sagar," right? Even tiny drops when collected can create an ocean. That's what you've done, networking, touche to networking and teamwork. And that's what you're doing. Each one of you have got your own strengths, and you've combined those strengths to create wonderful, ventures like Joy Story Foundation and Myvoice. So really, bravo. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing your experiences with us. Now, let's continue with our discussion. What do you think you have accomplished during your journey? Let's have some interesting stories from the journey so far. So I'm going to come to Mamta first.
There have been a lot of stories. In fact, we are so grateful, and there's so much of gratitude every day. That every day we are able to make a change. We are able to create a story. And very early in our journey, at the beginning of our journey, we created a beautiful story of this widow in Bangalore, a 60 years old widow. Her name was Miss Curators. And she worked with YWCA for 30 years, and being a widow, she had to look after her 3 kids. But as soon as she finished her profession, she was left abandoned by her kids, and she was left to live in a college compound. And this story came to us from Bangalore, and we just. In few seconds we decided that we have to help her out and we have to support her. And then we, very initial days where we didn't even have, funds to support her, but then we all decided that we have to do this, and we paid for her living expenses so that she could lead a life of dignity, have her own house, a rented accommodation, and we paid for that rent for whatever time we could. And she was so thankful. Secondly, in this journey, we have created beautiful, the medical support that we've given to people. Somebody would not just have a mattress, a air mattress to support them, or a wheelchair, or an orthopedic patient would just need a support of about, some instrument to be required for their operations. So there are things that have come to us from wherever. It is pan-India support that we are doing, and causes keep flowing to us. Rumi says that when you walk on the path, the way appears, and that is what has happened for us. There are people who are joining hands. They are bringing such cases, causes to us. There was another beautiful cause of a young girl in Karnataka, and they did not have a toilet at home, and she was molested because she had to use a public toilet. And this came to us, and we again very early days of our operation, we built a toilet for them, and all the young girls over there started using those toilets, felt so secure. We haven't seen those people, but then our support is pan-India, and it could be anywhere and any person. We are non-restrictive. The only thing is we should know the genuinity of the cause, and they should fulfill all our criteria, because there's a lot of research that goes into finding a cause. It is not that we are doing a collective funding. We are not at all into it. We look for new causes, we research for them, and then we see that whether they genuinely need our support or not. So, there have been things like this, many of them. Our website is full of these cases that we built, whether it was about 2 lakh meals in COVID, or sanitary pads, or giving laptops to kids. You name the cause, and we've done it. And the most recent is the Joy Pathshala, which is a dream come true of what I used to envision, when I used to see those construction sites. So that these are the stories, If there are 50 kids in our 2 Joy Pathshalas, then that means those 50 kids are going to be going to the school. So that is something. Those are 50 stories for us. If the skill center that we run called Sui Dhaga, so the 10 women that we've taught, we've run a 4-month course there. So they all will be employed after 4 months. So that's a story for us. So beautiful stories. There are endless stories that we've created, and we are really thankful to God, and with all our gratitude, that He is making us do all these things. It's a beautiful word called there.
No, truly amazing. Each story is beautiful in itself, and I'm sure you've got tons of them. Mamta, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Dr. Gupta, let's come to you for Myvoice. Can you also share some motivational stories for us?
I think one of the things I wanted to say is that, since we started Myvoice, we have successfully completed 35 sessions of Myvoice events, and we've organized 2 Myvoice Forum Global Summits. And with that, we've given a unique opportunity to over 100 women to share their wisdom, to share their life learnings with people from around the world. In fact, we've got our Myvoice Global Summit, the 3rd edition, coming up later this week, which again has 36 panelists from across the world who will come together in a very thought-provoking and an interactive setting to exchange their views and reflect upon overcoming challenges, so all of us women can achieve our personal best. And look, again, that's not all. We've been so committed to our mission of bringing these authentic voices of women and men together, from our very, very diverse and thriving community, and to celebrate their exceptional accomplishments and achievements through publishing the Myvoice books. And I'm genuinely proud and I'm humbled that this very simple yet powerful initiative has given a voice to thousands of women across the world, and we've been able to create over 125 bestseller authors in just 1 year, and hopefully we have inspired many more women and men to do the same one day. And of course, on top of all of this, through our events and through our books, we've made significant contribution to our charity partner, which is Singapore Children's Society, which is one of the oldest charities here in Singapore, by supporting future voices and by raising funds and creating awareness about their programs throughout.
Truly amazing, truly amazing. And the biggest question that's going to come into people who are listening to this is, how do I, go to that scale? Guys, you've got to start, small. Take baby steps to start with. Look around you. There might be a kid who needs education, who needs books, right? Instead of throwing away your books or selling your books, you can actually donate your books. Old notepads which are empty, you can donate them as well. I think the biggest question that comes into a young entrepreneur's mind is, how do I start? How do I, take that step into NGO when I don't have support from anybody? Look for projects, those are small, which are deliverable, without huge inputs or huge investments. Start with that, right? And then maybe scale up. Harish, let's come to you now. So, in terms of the stories, and we've heard some amazing stories from Mamta and Dr. Gupta, what is the scale that you've been able to achieve so far in the last 3 years?
Okay, sure. So before I talk about the scale, I guess Mamta had already elaborated what kind of individual stories we have been able to create. I think the first and foremost task for us was to create something more very sustainable, which stays long term, which doesn't require a daily, measuring tag. So I guess the first objective was to give value for the money to the donors. So that was the topmost priority for us, so that people who get hooked on to us with a single donation should eventually expand their horizon with us in terms of attracting more people to us. So it was imperative that we create something sustainable. So I guess today, if I talk about how the distribution of projects which happens at Joy, is that around 60% of money which we spend today on the ground is towards a sustainable project. Now sustainable in terms of the benefits or the impact, I must say, which is created on the ground. So for example, the first sustainable project we did was we have adopted 3,000 women backward slums in Delhi who have moved from maintaining their menstrual hygiene with the sanitary pads which we provide to them. And now, let me tell you, there are a whole lot of projects which are happening on the ground on this subject. We have every woman mapped with their phone numbers, with their Aadhaar card. We talk to them. How has it been able to make a difference? Have they been able to create a further impact between their peer group in terms of adoption of sanitary pads? So India is the biggest market for sanitary pads in the world, but it's the most underutilized market. I mean, today only 2 out of 10 women even in the entire landscape use sanitary pads, and that's a very alarming situation. We all know what possibly it can lead to. 30% of the women who do not use sanitary pads eventually die. I mean, that's a very alarming situation, but then who's talking about it? No one. Exactly. We actually went on the ground and adopted these 3 women, and today, I mean, all of them have, whether we are able to give them a sanitary pad or not, but then they're using it with their other resources. So, and the sustainable project which Mamta spoke about was the Joy Pathshala. Now, these 50 kids who have been with us for last 7 months they had no agenda of going to school. No agenda. I mean, they ranged from 6-year-olds to 12-year-olds. Now, what was the challenge? The parents went out early in the morning, they worked as construction workers or daily employees somewhere, and the kids were abandoned on a railway track, which was parallel to the slums they were living in. Yeah. What do we do in such cases? I mean, the easiest thing to do is lose hope. But then we didn't. We actually picked up a motivator within the slums, got those 50 kids from the railway slums, and trust me, we actually had people shooting them with the camera when they were playing on the railway track. We picked up 50 of them, put them in 2 schools, and today around 7 of them have already been admitted to a regular school out of those 50. So transition in next 1 year is all 50 kids who had no agenda of going to school. We went and convinced the local authorities in the local government schools to adopt these kids even though they have surpassed that age of joining. And those today, I mean, idea is unless 6 months time we'll get all 50 of them under a condition if they do not migrate out. Will be in a school supervised by us, and the next 50 kids will join this school. So that was a major challenge. The whole idea was to do this around in a community. Considering we did not have money to invest in resources, we actually did a community building around us, created empathy for these 50 children, created a set of volunteers within those slum areas who were influential, contacted the local municipal councillor, get them engaged, and these 50 kids have a transforming life today. I mean, we feel happy that we've been able to create a difference. Another sustainable project which we did was, and trust me, I went around and asked everywhere, no one was doing this. So possibly it's an innovation from my side. We did an eye test for 1,000 kids in a slum. Can you beat the fact that around 30% of them were at a stage where they would lose their eyesight in 5 years? If, and only if they were given a spectacle at the right time. And a spectacle costs you just 500 rupees at the lower end of the pyramid. So we have our ongoing and making it one of the most ambitious projects we would have to do. We have a plan to do a 1 million healthy eyes program, and we are on a roadmap which is clearly stating the fact that it's going to be successful. The average population, only 10% of the people have a weak eyesight. Kids in slums have a 50% ratio of a weak eyesight. Considering they are undernourished, they are malnutrition, there is issue of bad diet, improper diet, meals not at the right time, do not have access. And look at the kind of impact it can create. A good spectacle, a good eyesight can make them interested in going to school. Otherwise, how will they look at a blackboard from far, from a distance? How will they be able to write? So these are mind-transforming projects. So 70% of the money which we spend today is on sustainable community-based initiatives, as I enumerated in these few examples. Around 20% of the money we spend on crisis situations. Crisis situations like, as Mamta elaborated, someone going through operation, hospital doesn't have money, even the government hospitals do not have a money to buy an implant in an emergency case. So we go ahead and volunteer that we will give you that implant. Another crisis situation, we just encountered during COVID, everything was hunky-dory at that time. We identified 20 kids who were brilliant, 90% plus kind of a run rate on the score, and they did not have laptops. So how will they do e-education? And they were all kids of a dhobi or a daily maid servant and so on. We bought second-hand laptops for these kids and actually gave it to them. Mind transforming. And we at last we heard from Mamta, if I remember correctly, 3 of them are studying in very good colleges in Delhi and have a glorious career ahead. And they call
one of them is in Jamia. Jamia Millia.
One of them is studying mass
Oh,
communication.
that's
and
truly
he's ready to
truly
become a
amazing.
journalist. He's ready to become a journalist. Just
And the
imagine.
best part is that they've committed that after they finish their programs, they're going to be giving back to us. They will join us in Joy's story and give back to us in whatever way they are. You know, that's the best part of it.
So look at the fact how slowly we are engaging people as recipients would eventually become donors with us. It's a slow
True.
process. So as I said, 70% of the money we spend on community and sustainable initiatives, around 30% goes out, 25-30% goes out in creating crisis-based impact. Around 10% goes to us actually delivering joy on the ground. And for that, we do not have any fixed formula. If we can bring a joy or a smile to an old age home, to a child with ice cream or anything else, we are willing to do anything and everything for that. So this is how fund distribution happens at our end. I guess I answered your question.
Wonderful, yeah. Truly those smiles that you get back are the outcomes that you're actually looking for. That's the income that you need from such a project. And I think two keywords that I could get from what Mamta, Dr. Gupta and Harish has just shared: be innovative, think out of the box. You've got to look beyond what you can see and find out what the need is. And in this case, the eye checkup that you did saved 30% of the kids from going out of school. I think that's a wonderful initiative that you've done. And actually, I've never heard of such a project, by the way. So I think that's indeed a unique. And the next thing is that make your project sustainable. I think without that, you're going to always run out of options. If it's a sustainable one, if you put it on autopilot, I think you're in for a long run. But if it's not sustainable, sooner or later, you're going to run out of ideas and resources. I think two key things that have come out of it. Harish, taking this forward, I think the next question I would want you to continue. What are the different challenges or issues that you've faced throughout the journey?
Actually, a lot. Okay, so at the cost of what we deliver the project, we do not always have enough money in hand. So I guess getting new donors and getting donors to continue is one of the biggest challenges we have in our hands right now. So I guess Mamta and Sonia would add into that aspect once I end. So second possible challenge which we encounter is identifying the right cause. There are times we have more money than what we spend, and that happens very rarely, but then the constant pursuit of identifying the right cause and the genuine cause. So we look for people within our social circle who can recommend us a real good cause. So that sometimes become very challenging for us. Challenge lies in scaling up the current project or identifying, as you rightly said, a out-of-box cause which can possibly create a better impact in the times to come. So there's a constant tussle between us when we spend money. Should we do specs for only these 300 kids, take it to 3,000, or identify a new cause and create an impact area which is beyond our horizon right now, but maybe be more productive and impactful in times to come. So these two challenges, Mamta and Sonia, you can add. I guess you are more closer to the donor perspective of why they participate or resist. Neither case.
Exactly. I want Mamta to add something to this.
See, a lot of challenges in the execution per se. To begin with, we were very new. We were a baby. We started in 2019, and 2020 February, March, the COVID came in. Now we had funds, and but then what about how to act upon them? Because when you were too nascent in your journey, and then you face an obstacle like this, it might just kill you. It might just finish you off because you don't have anything to perform. But then the idea of when we saw the daily wages and the food crisis that we could see all around us, now we had the money, we had the intent, but we did not. The logistics was a problem because there was a lockdown everywhere. But then again, if you have a thought, if you're giving that to the universe, so the universe will bring you, the ideas and would get you onto that path. So another NGO joined hands with us, and they supported us with all the logistics. And you will not believe, we were doing 1,000 meals a day, about 2.5 lakh meals we did in a span of 1 month. And whatever support the daily wages wanted, the people who were just going back to their homes, whether it was footwear they needed, whether it was anything on their journey back home, because they were the ones who were the most affected. We were still sitting in our homes baking cakes and making new dishes, and we were happy with that. But that they were in the real stage of they were facing the COVID as nobody else did. So that was one of so sometimes logistic support is there, because our cause might come from Panipat or from anywhere pan India, and obviously we can't travel to every place to look for the authenticity of that cause. But then we are relying on a gut feeling. We're talking to people. We are trying to find out that is genuine, because we are answerable to the donors who are donating to us, because we are telling them that this money would go to that cause. So we have to make sure that it goes to that cause. So logistics is one problem, and secondly, as we have, as Harish said, we have about 3,000 odd women under our this thing, where we are supporting them with the sanitary pads from past 3 years. Now, getting those pads is a huge problem, in the sense that though we say that there is a government organization doing it, but then getting them, and then making sure that it reaches the right kind of the right women who are with us, and supporting them every month, because this is something which is unavoidable. You can't tell a woman that we are out of supplies and you do whatever you want to do with your problem. So that kind of a problem is there. So there are a lot of hurdles. Then obviously getting donations is sometimes we were seeing a cause which requires some amount of money, but then you're short of those funds. So there are hurdles at every step, but then I'm sure we happily treaded through all the hurdles, and we are on our journey very beautifully, and we hopefully want to just carry it forward in the best way.
Truly amazing. I mean, that first 1 year of lockdown of COVID-19 was truly extraordinary. I mean, we had all thought about it, right? We had all thought about the Spanish flu and it might come back. But we had no idea that it would actually come across in our lifetime. We would actually see that situation, and it was truly heartbreaking to see so many people walking back home thousands of kilometers. But Mamta, you rightly said, even after the lockdown, even after the restrictions, you had the will, hence you found the way. I think that's a truly amazing thing. Thank you so much, Harish and Mamta, was sharing about the challenges. So now I'm going to come to Dr. Gupta. I mean, let's talk about networking, right? This work is all about networking. This work is all about minds coming together, right? People coming together. So what inspires or resists people, or let's say organizations, to collaborate with you? Let's hear from you first.
So I think one of the challenges that we had was when we started the whole Myvoice program, and we were very fortunate that there wasn't any resistance. People were very, very supportive and were coming out, so we even wanted to talk about it. But the challenge we had was when we decided that we wanted to put it together as a book. Now, getting people to write for it and having the courage to share their journeys wasn't an issue at all. But when it came to publishing, that's when we actually struggled, because we went to so many different publishers, and a lot of them wouldn't even reply back to us. So we're sitting there waiting months after months, wondering what's happening. And finally we found some inroads, and we spoke to somebody and said, what is the issue? I mean, we've got a really, really good book together. And they said, look, many of your writers are first-time writers, and they're not professional writers, and they come from different walks of lives. I said, well, isn't that the beauty of this whole project? And they said, that's also why many of the publishing houses are going to be hesitant, because there's no precedent, and they're not sure if if this is going to be successful or not. So we said, look, if nobody gives us a chance, will always be first time writers. So I said, this is a bit of a chicken and egg situation. They said, well, there's nothing we can do. And then we went to some second tier publishing houses and we figured out that it was not only very expensive, but the fact is that they wouldn't do any marketing for us. And I said, look, if we don't market these books, our 5 friends and probably, our moms are going to buy this book. And that's it. And that's not the idea. The idea is to get the stories out to hundreds and thousands of people. And literally, just out of sheer frustration, I was sitting down with my partner and I said, you know what, we're just going to do this ourselves. And she said, but we don't know anything about publishing. I said, well, we'll learn. Why not? And of course, famous last words, but how hard it could be. It was hard. It was very difficult. And we struggled to get the right team, but we put in the effort because we knew that if we do this once and if we get this right, then there's no stopping us. And again, this also comes to, the advice that you were saying about the entrepreneurs that, I think the main thing is to never give up, to be very confident about what you have in mind and to be passionate. And we had all of those things together and we said, we're going to do this. We got together an editorial team. And again, here, COVID again was something that was positive that came out because now everything became so global, everything was online that we didn't have to put in expensive resources. So we had teams in so many different parts of the world working round the clock. And that really not just fulfilled our dream, but also fulfilled dreams of so many people who want to get published and did not have the opportunity. And in terms of the support that we got from women all over the world, it was really overwhelming that there were so many women who wanted to be part of this initiative, who wanted to share their journeys and to inspire, motivate and empower not just women but men as well. In fact, we've had domestic workers from Philippines and Indonesia. We've had transgender women from India who have written in our books who otherwise would never had such an opportunity to share their voice or to have themselves heard. In fact, Jasveer, I have to admit that I am so grateful that every day we're getting closer to achieving our vision of sharing this responsibility and making a difference, turning challenges into inspiration and ultimately providing each other with much needed support to make life happen in our own terms.
Yeah, welcome to the world of publishing, wherein everybody wants a good story, but nobody wants to publish a new author. That's the story of a new author. But yeah, truly, that's the biggest challenge in publishing industry, and you've done something fantastic by creating this platform wherein even a non-author can come to you and publish their story. That's indeed wonderful. Now let's come to Sonia. Let's talk about what kind of resists or motivates or inspires organizations and people to collaborate with you.
Yeah, just to add on to what Neera said, I'm a first-time published author and I'm holding an Amazon bestseller. So wow. That's what it can, a mass movement, out of the box thinking, it can do wonders. And that's what I have seen in my journey in Joy story as well. So see, we don't hire people, we don't have a cost for employee or marketing or anything. Everything is contributed towards the actual execution of the cost on the ground. That's what make it different, and probably that's what our curators of the show found it so that we could be here talking about it, how different we are. So there's a challenge, of course, in our donors are basically from word of mouth and good references. They stick to us because they know about the results, the transparency, the good execution, transparency that we keep, and we keep them updated. We don't hound on people. There's no cold call. There's no chasing people at all, like I've seen in many NGOs. And it's just that we share about what we are doing transparently. That's what make us different. We have resistance like any other non-profit organization, and the trust is a big factor which people develop gradually, and they have to be convinced, and we all feel it that way, when we also come across such fundraisings, and people are very sensitive about contributing their money or talents, and they don't want to do the right thing for a wrong reason. It has to be right. So that's where I think for the trust factors, my key pointers here to whoever is watching the show is that, as a donor, it's very genuine to have those trust issues, but just be open and find out, ask questions, where my money is going, where my efforts are going to be there, how it's going to be channelized, how can I have the beneficiary access, like Harish was saying that, like Mamta was quoting, like those examples of, they are hands-on, they have all the information about the beneficiary, getting the advantage of this and how it is benefiting them. So, all that access is open in Joy Story Foundation. We have each and every, donor can access, and they can find out the Joy Pathshala. We have the registration of these 50 kids, and, it's really heartwarming to see that for our own kids, we know that, there's spectacles that would be needed, or this play school concept. But for children with slums, we don't have such things. We expect them to go to primary one, but we don't do that for our own children. So this is something which Joy Story is doing very uniquely, very passionately. They're getting healthy snacks so that there's a motivation for them to come there. So all these things, we are open to talk about it, and we are grateful for a platform like this that we get an opportunity to talk about it. When donors, there's resistance, they just go to website and they think that, this is just like any other NGO. So the resistance come, and the impact is, I would like to point out, like what Harish mentioned about the women's sanitary pads drive, that the hygiene programs that we were running. So if I am as a donor, I want to run an initiative like this independently, maybe I can reach to 5 women, 10 women, 50 women, and maybe I will not be able to do that sustainably. Like, I can do that once, twice, and then, it will fizzle out. It's just not about supplying that. It's about creating what Neera said, mass movement. It's about inculcating a cultural shift. So what I've seen, I've been in Delhi on grounds, and when I was in Delhi that time, I saw hundreds of women queuing up for sanitary napkins, which was not the case 3 years back. They did not want to even try that, and they did not even want to afford that. Now, few years down the line, they will be used to it. It's not that we're saying that Joy Story Foundation would forever fund them, with this. We want to inculcate a cultural shift, transformation, that this is your need, this is what you should, and of course with Joy Pathshala, Mamta and Harish, they're also having some twin initiatives like Sui Dhaga. They're giving free tailoring services to the mothers so that they become self-sufficient. We don't want to be dependent on an NGO. We want them to become very sufficient and self-independent. So those are the things, the resistance of donors would come in. So in fact, they have to understand that they need to really, maybe try something doing together collectively. And this is not like a non-profit with a typical like people, like we have a head office and we have employees. No, it's all people getting together and doing things meaningfully, and we're very open for creative ideas. You have something, you want to do something, speak to any one of us, and we are very open to make that happen for you. So that's what I just wanted to convey through this chat.
I think you just narrated something fascinating. You're empowering people to be self-sufficient, and I think I'm just going to tweak this saying that if you give food to somebody, you are making them happy just for once. But then if you teach them how to grow food or how to fish, right? I'm just tweaking it. Grow food and fish. You're making them self-sufficient. You're empowering them so that they can do it themselves. I think that's something really great that you're doing. So not just your model that Joy Story Foundation is sustainable, but then you're also providing sustainable resources to the people, making them, sort of empowering them so that they can be self-sufficient. That's truly amazing. Mamta, let's come to you finally. What inspires or resists people or organization to collaborate with you?
As you've heard Harish saying that there are about 17 lakh NGOs. Harish, am I right with the figures?
3 million, 30 lakhs.
3 million. So I'm wrong. I'm very bad with figures, so sorry for that. So when you know that we have so many established, NGOs, there. So it's a very tough journey for a new entrant. So convincing people to donate to you and convincing them that the money would be used for the right cause is a big, it's a big task. But then gradually, what we've been seeing in our case, that our USPs, as Sonia mentioned, that it's a zero expense organization. There is zero expense that we put, use the money that is coming. There are no expenses that have been, catered to that. Then there has not been a single cold calling in 3 years. Maybe we haven't called people to say that please donate to us. Then there is 100% support for the cause. When we say that you donate 100 rupees, so 100%, 100 rupees is going to the cause that you're donating to. And our website is so transparent that it is giving you all the figures. All the money that we've collected so far in whichever cause that you are donating to, and how many stories we've created. So the website is beautifully done, and it is explaining everything. And then some sustainable initiatives like creation, Sonia have mentioned, that we've taken up through. So people are seeing it. People are seeing our genuinity, and people are seeing that what are we actually doing. We have so many friends, but then there are very few who are donating. So there is no problem at all. But some of them, we've seen cases where a gentleman, very early stages in our journey, he just saw us on Twitter, and he is not in India, outside India, but then using his Indian accounts, he's donating to us in a very beautiful and huge amounts, because he's convinced that he hasn't met us, he hasn't talked to us, he doesn't live in the state we are, the city we are, but still he is a big support. There was another gentleman who happened to give a lecture at a university, and there was an honorarium that he got, and then another huge amount of money, and he donated the whole amount to us. That they are such beautiful cases, and that tells us that there is a affirmation that comes to us that whatever we are doing we are doing it on the right track. So there has been challenges. Resistance, of course, has been there. There is again, still a very few number of donors who are on an auto donation to us, means that they will. We know that they'll be donating to us every month. So, but every month there are new donors who are coming to us, and all through word of mouth, all through seeing what we've been doing, and that is why you see that now we have about 2 Joy Pathshalas, 1 skill center called Sweet Haga, 3 old homes under our this thing. Then 3,000 women that we are supporting, and still we have a lot. We have still a lot that we will be doing, and we are planning to do it. So resistance, of course, is there, but then I think we are crossing all hurdles to.
Yeah, we have our own share of admirers.
Absolutely.
As
But
they say,
truly,
everyone finds someone to love him or her. So we have a lot of people who admire us, collaborate with us month on month. That's the reason we are existing today.
Yeah.
True. Absolutely. Amongst all the NGOs, that's how you differentiate yourself. If the fear is that you will be lost among tons of NGOs that are there in India, guys, to love, by inspiring others and having innovative solutions is how you will differentiate yourself. It's truly amazing how when you have an interesting conversation and you suddenly lose track of time. I'm sorry about that. So let's quickly have the closing remarks.
No,
right?
I would just like to add to this, Jasveer. The entire social ecosystem of our country is based on mistrust. The political, social, economic situation. We all keep creating about scams. We know there is a scam in every person. We know there is a scam in every organization. That's what we are made to believe. Dishonesty is the first thing which comes in mind unless things change. Post-pandemic, people have become more prudent in evaluating another person. But then today
You become judgmental, right?
everyone feels that there's something shady about whatever he or she is doing. Why is he driving a better car? Why is he staying in a plush home? I mean, people do not see the journey, the hard work goes.
Yeah.
People see this must be something wrong.
Yeah, people see the
our
face
culture,
value. Yeah.
Yeah, so if everything would have been correct and everything money was flowing here and in the right places, we did not need these 3 million NGOs, right?
Exactly. No, that's true. That's so much true. We don't look at the story behind it, the hard work, and how many people have uplifted that person or that organization. We only look at
I'm
the
not
face
saying
value.
painting very dark
easy.
picture. I think even if people do not donate to NGOs, I'm sure everyone in his or her capacity is doing something, for upliftment of the people around him. So may good sense prevail to everyone, with or without participation.
I love that.
in NGO. I guess we all should have a right to live in a better world around us. So I guess
Exactly. It's
I'll
those
sum
small
it up
things.
that way.
Yeah. So Harish, I have your answer. So Sonia, let's come to you. What's your final message to people, young entrepreneurs about this field?
Well, I personally think that we human beings are hardwired for generosity, compassion. It comes naturally to us, and everybody, I believe, wants to do good stuff. It's just that we don't trust enough. We overthink, and I think those issues can be managed by talking about it, being open, and just developing the system, the ecosystem around us. We cannot be just rejecting it like by saying that and paint the entire community or a cause with the same brush. So I think that's where if you think that human average lifespan is 75 years, I think many of us have lived 60% of our life, 30% remaining. So we don't want to waste our remaining 30% of life, whatever left with, in doubting the ecosystem. And I think universe is the best thing. You just put out the best and the purest intention of the good thing that you want to do, and you'll be amazed that universe has your back. And you will be amazed with, it will surprise you in the way you never imagined. So that's what my message is for the closure, that good things get good recognition and you feel satisfied. It's proven scientifically, it's good for mental, physical and spiritual health.
Exactly. So have an open mind is your message when you look at different NGOs, right? All right, Dr. Gupta, let's come to you.
There we go. I think I do want to finish off with some words by Mark Anthony, who said that, and one day she discovered that she was fierce and strong and full of fire, and that not even she could hold herself back because her passion burned brighter than her fears. So I urge every woman and even men to have the courage to share their stories, and that would be their legacy that you would leave for generations to come. The journey isn't about the book, it's rather who you become after you publish the book. So take that first step and speak up and be heard.
Wonderful. Take that first step. Thank you, Dr. Gupta. Let's come to Mamta. What's your final message for people, young entrepreneurs about this field?
Final message is support organizations like us. I mean, I would truly speak for myself and Joy Story Foundation, and help us reach many more causes that need immediate attention. We're sitting in in the cozy atmospheres of our homes. We actually truly, we do not know that what is happening at the ground level, because we are at the ground level. So we actually know the problems that people are facing. So support us so that we can reach such causes and, reach our motto of joy of giving, spreading joy. So when they donate to us, they are also attaining the joy of giving with us, because they know that where their money is going. So I would just urge everybody whoever is seeing this show that believe in organizations like ours and then support us to see that we are reaching the right causes at the right time and reaching the right kind of people.
Wonderful. You can find descriptions for Joy Story Foundation in the description below. Also, you can search for Joy Story Foundation in Google. It's available on all the social medias. You can find them there. Thank you guys so much for the fascinating conversation. I was really lost in it and we lost time. My apologies for that. But thank you so much for taking time out. Big shout out to Arun, Bhagwati, Shivani, Dalal, and the entire team of Story Club for organizing this amazing session. You can follow Story Club on all social media platforms. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. My full name is in the description. And Abracadabra by Jasveer, the podcast, is available on Spotify and Google Podcast and YouTube as well. Thank you so much, everyone, wherever you're logged in from, for taking time out to listen to us. And I'll be back with another guest shortly. Till that time, take care and stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.